Hello my dear students, welcome back to another session of computer application. So the previous class we were discussed about the real world object and the software object. Then what are the major differences between the real world object and the software object, and also we discussed what are the major characteristics and behavior and data members and member functions in the software object. So I hope you understood. So the next topic of that means today we are going to learn about the concept of message passing. So the word itself giving the meaning, what do you mean by message passing? So message passing means nothing, it's a passing a message. Then from where to where? That is important. Okay, so let me explain how the message passing will be working in the programming. So we can see. So we already know the object oriented programming, it's a group of classes and object. So if you are considering one class, number of objects are there. So more than one objects we can use in a one particular class. For example, so if you are using a student, so student is a class. Inside the student class, number of objects we can use it. That means, so inputting the data about the students. So the student details we are going to input into the computer, that is a one group. So inputted details, if you wanted to see, that we are using the displaying option. And if the student will be paying the fees, that is a fees structure or fees section. So three objects we are using. That means inputting the student details, displaying the student details, and paying the fees or preparing the student fees bill. So these three we can consider is an object of a given class. Okay, so these three number of objects, how the objects will be connecting. So sometimes may or may not be the variable we need to transfer one object to another object. For example, the inputting value. Inputting value means for inputting we are using number of variable. That means if the student name, if you wanted to input, we need to use one variable. So in the variable itself we are storing the name. Okay, while inputting the data should be goes to the declared variable. So that variable only we are using to store the data. Okay, so like that, if you wanted to store the student roll number or marks or academics learned, so whatsoever. So what are the things you are going to input, somewhere else we need to store it. So storage area that we should be defined first itself, that is previous class already we have explained. Okay, so that is called as a variable. So each and every object is having their own variables they are using. Okay, sometimes one particular object they are depending on another object. Okay, so the first inputting object, inputting the student detail. So they are using student name, student roll number, admission number, date. So these four variables they are using. So that is inputting. The same variable they are using to display the content. Okay, so that we can conclude the inputting value that object and the displaying value that object. These two objects are using the same variable. So that the first object can pass the variable to the second object, isn't it? So that is passing the message from one object to another object is called as message passing. So that is object oriented programming. All the type of object oriented programming we are using the message passing concept. So without using the message passing, sometimes we need to access unauthorized variable. So each object, their variable they protected. Okay, so with the permission of the class or some group of values, they will give the permission to access the variable. So with the help of that permission, we can go inside the another object and we can access the variable. Or the first object they can send the value to the second object or another object. So that is called as a passing. So passing message means we can tell in another words, transferring value to one place to another place. Okay, so transferring content to one object, from one object to another object. So that is called as a message passing. So the entire, that means throughout the object oriented one particular programming we are using the message passing concept. It's so optional only. So it's not compulsory. Whenever we need we can use it. Okay, so the next topic, the next concept will be class. So we already discussed about the class. One previous session in detail we explained with example. What do you mean by class? What is the use of class in the given object oriented programming or any program? What are the programs we are using? What is the importance of class? So we already know without class we cannot write the real object oriented program. Okay, so in this session we are going to learn about more details about class and what are the relationship between the classes and object, how the object will be defining inside the class, how they are making the relation, that and all we can see in this session. Okay. So before going to explain in this section, let me explain briefly again what do you mean by class. So what do you mean by class? So you already know, I think so. Okay. So but also I will explain the class. Class is a blueprint of an object, isn't it? So a class is a blueprint of an object with common behavior, characteristics, relationships and semantics. So this is a small definition about the class. Okay, did you understand? So once again, a class is a blueprint of an object with common characteristics, common behavior, common relationships and common semantics. So then we can go in depth the definition, how I will explain this definition. So common characteristics. So common characteristics means what are the major common characteristics we are using in a particular class. Okay, so for example, a vehicle is a class. Okay, so vehicle is a class means it's a class. If this particular class is having some common characteristics will be there and also individual options are there. Okay, so the common characteristics we can consider, it's a vehicle. Okay, so it's having common properties, we can consider speed, okay, fuel, then brake, accelerator. So these all will be common for a vehicle. Okay, individual things, that is a behavior. So maybe it's a two-wheeler or four-wheeler. Just now the previous class we explained. Okay, so two-wheeler or four-wheeler or a six-wheeler, so whatsoever, and the color of the vehicle and the uses of vehicle, seating capacity of vehicle, this all will be a individual characteristics. Okay, so this common, what are the major common things we are using, that is called as a common characteristics and common behavior. So common characteristics, this only. Common behavior means what is the use? The common uses will be, it is used to travel. Okay, it's moving on the road. Okay, it's using fuels like petrol or diesel whatsoever. So commonly it is using some fuel. Okay, so this is called as a common characteristics or common behavior. So the next one is a relationship. So common relationship means the one particular object, the common relation, how we are giving the common relation. That means the vehicle, two-wheeler and four-wheeler will be there. So two-wheeler and four-wheeler, so when we are going to relate this two-wheeler and four-wheeler, both are using to travel. Okay, so that is one common relation. Both are vehicle, both are related to, both are used to travel. So this is called as a common relation. The next, common semantics. Semantics means actually it is not related to, exactly not related to the real world object. It's apart from the software object. When we are doing the programming or when we are writing a program, there we are using the semantic concept. The meaning of semantics will be logic. So logic we already know. What is the purpose of using the given object? Behind some logic will be there. How the object will be working. So how the object we are, while working, how the object will be moving forward. So what are the major member functions or variables we are using. So that is called as a logic. So for example, if you wanted to prepare a bill, okay, the employee salary bill. So that we already know. Employee salary bill means many things we need to calculate it. So different, the basic salary we have to find it, and different allowances will be there, deductions will be there, PF, LIC, so many things will be there. So this all will be considering as a salary slip. Okay, how the salary slip will be preparing. So maybe you already used in the Excel, the previous class Excel, you already studied some problems on it. So employee salary slip, maybe you prepared, I don't know. But if you prepared, you already know what are the major options we are using to prepare a bill. So if you don't know also, it doesn't matter, I'll explain. Okay, so when we are going to prepare a bill, so these all the things we have to calculate it. Okay, so while calculating, different types of variables and member functions or whatsoever, so what are the things we need to prepare the bill, related that we are using. So before going to prepare the bill, we are having some idea, isn't it? How that is how the bill is going to be preparing. So we are using our logic. That means each and every student is having their own ideas will be there. That means we are telling 5 fingers are not equal. Why? Because the height of the fingers are not equal, but the uses of fingers will be different, but all the fingers we are using in a different purpose. All the fingers are important. So that is called as logic. Okay. So each and every student, so the way of writing. So one question I am giving. So different different method we can use to write the answer. So one question we are able to give thousands of answer. So that is actually right only. For example, this made me very simple example. What do you mean by computer? Okay, so that is a simple question. Every student, everyone knows the answer. We can tell computer is an electronic machine. It's a right answer. So some other student will be telling computer is a digital electronic machine. That is also right answer. So some other student will computer is a digital or electronic machine. It is used to store and retrieve data. That is also right answer. Okay. So then another student, they can some more answer they can give it. Computer is an electronic machine. It is having keyboard, mouse, monitor. That is also very right answer. That means one particular question we are able to give different types of answer. Okay. But the final result will be all answer will be correct. So that is called as logic. So one problem, if you wanted to solve one problem, the solution will be number of solutions are there. Okay. So another real world example I will tell. So after the school timing, 3:40 the bell will ring. After that you wanted to go to home. Okay. So you are having more options to go go to the house. So by walk you can go to house. By bicycle you can go. So by bus you can go. By car you can go, by jeep you can go. So different medium, transport medium we are able to use it. That means but the intention will be same, to reach the house. Okay, so what are the way we are selecting, that is different, but the final input, final output will be exactly same. So what are the ways we are selecting, that is called as logic. Different logics we are using. So my logic is different, but I am able to complete to solve the problem, but I am getting the exact answer, final answer I am getting. So some other student, they are using the same problem, they are using some other technique to solve the problem, step by step execution, but the final they are getting the same answer like me, but the step execution will be exactly correct. That is a mathematics concept. So different way we can adopt to solve the problem. So that adaptation of solving methodology is called as a logic. So we are using our logic. That means we are working our brain. Okay. So the logic is that particular word is very much important in the software programming. So the software programmers or software engineers or developers, they are using their brain. So by hearting it is not possible. That means if they are by hearting any code or something else, it is definitely not at all work out it, because they have to use their brain. They have to work out their brain and they have to find out new ideas, and their logic should be exposite. So that is called as. So this logic is known as a semantic. Okay. So the main intention of using the class, the semantics. So the common properties of each and every object of a class is called as a semantic. Okay. So this is known as class. Once again, the class is a blueprint of an object with common properties, behaviors, relationships and semantics. Okay. So the next we can go for the example for class. How the class will be working. So which are the examples we are using, we can see. Okay. So one class, let me write on the board, fruit. Okay. It's a common example. So fruit is a common example. We already different types of fruits are, but fruit is a common word for all the fruits. Okay. So we can consider fruit is a class. Okay. So below the fruits, under the fruits, what are the types of fruits we are using? That is called as objects. Okay. For example, the first apple. Apple, orange, grapes. So fruit is a class, apple, orange, grapes. So these three we can consider as an objects. Okay. So let me explain how it will be working. So this fruit is having their own common properties or common behaviors or characteristics, or properties or attributes. So what are the common characteristics or behavior of a fruit? We can tell fruit is having the taste. Taste is a common property for the fruit. All the fruit is having taste. Different taste will be, that is a object properties. Okay. So the next step, fruit is a color. Common property will be color of the fruit. So each fruit is having their own color will be there. And taste will be there, color will be the size of the fruit. So that is also a common property for the fruit. So this is called as a fruit. So under the fruit we are using the different types of fruits. Okay, so these different types of fruit is having their own characteristics will be there. So that is called as a objects. So apple. So apple is an object of a class fruit. We are explaining that this is the way we are going to explain the object and classes. Okay, so fruit is a class and apple, orange, grapes is an object. So how we are going to explain? Apple is an object, or apple is an object of a class fruit. Orange is an object of a class fruit, and grapes is an object of a class fruit. So this is the way we are going to explain it. So this apple is in the taste of the apple will be different, color of the apple will be different, size of the apple will be different. So this is the properties for objects. Okay, and orange also like that only, grapes also like that only. So this is the relationship between the objects and the classes. And the next one is creating object. How we are going to create the object in a class. So creating object, so we can tell the object is an instance of a class. So what do you mean by instance? Instance means just an example. Okay, so an object is also called as an instance of class. So declaring an object in a class is called as instantiation. Declaring an object in a class is called as instantiation. Just like an example. Okay. So how the object will be created. So one simple example. It's not a programming example. With the help of the programming atmosphere, I am using some common words to expose the example about the classes and object. So I am going to create one class is called as fruit. So class fruit. Okay, class fruit. So what are the objects we are using? So the first one is object apple. Then object 1 apple, object 2 orange, object 2 grape, 3 grapes, object 3 grapes. So while doing the programming or while writing the program, this is the way we are going to write the program. But here just for example I have given the programming atmosphere I have taken and the common words I am using for example purpose. So the class is a keyword only. So class fruit. Okay. So this is the before the class explanation. Previous itself I explained a class is just like a frame. Okay. So directly we are not using with the help of class. Nothing we are doing with the help of class. So we are coming inside the class. What are the objects or variables or data members or member functions we are used in the class, that we are taking it and we are executing or processing in the entire programming. Okay, so that means the 95% of programming will be working based on the objects, different objects only. So for working the object, it's directly not possible. The class is allowing to access the object and execute it. So that's why we are using the class. Class is just like a frame. It can combine the number of objects and also their own data members and member functions. So their own data members and member functions, some group of variables and activities. That means the methods and activities we are using. So that is called as a members and member functions. So this is the way we are using the classes and objects. So I hope you understood. So this is the second time I think so I am explaining about the classes and objects. The previous lessons the same thing will be repeated. So the third lesson the same thing will be briefly explained, and also they are telling how the object and classes will be going to relate it. How, what do you mean by common properties or common behavior? So that again they are given the detailed explanation, because the programming, while doing the programming, these informations we need. Okay, so this is the way we are considering the classes in the object oriented programming. So we can continue. The next part will be the syntax of creating an object of a class. How we are going to create an object in a class. So the writing method or syntax. So syntax means writing method or writing rules or regulations. How we are writing, some methods will be there that should be followed. So that that rules is known as a syntax. So what is the rules and regulations for creating an object in a class, we can see. So the first of all we have to give what class you have created, that is you have to define it, that is a class name, then object name equal to new, then class name. Okay, we are going to create this is the writing method, how we are going to create an object in a given class. So the example will be fruit apple. So fruit is a class, object is apple is an object, equal to new fruits function. Okay, so this is represented by function or class. So new is a keyword. So what is the use of new keyword? New keyword is used to allocating space for the dynamic memory to store the given data. Okay, so new is used to creating, that means enter key. What is the use of enter key? When we are pressing the enter key, the new empty line will be generating, isn't it? So exactly same, new is a keyword that is providing by the programming software library. It is used to allocating a space to store the data in a dynamic memory. So dynamic and static memory will be there. So which memory we are using in our system, so that is we are using. So dynamic or static allocation of memory, for that purpose only we are using. So while inputting the data, that data should be stored somewhere else. So if you wanted to store somewhere else, you need the space. That space will be providing by the new keyword. Okay, so this is the writing method example for the object creation in a class. Fruit, so this is a class name, apple is an object, equal to new fruit functions. Okay, so three terms we are using. So what are the major three terms we are using while creating an object in a class? The first one is a declaration. So declaration, it's a term, it is used to declaring a variable or class or object before using the programming. So that is called as declaration. It's to define first itself. Okay, so for example, if you wanted to take a leave, already you know tomorrow you are going to take a leave. So if you know already, before itself you are applying the leave. Okay, that means before taking the leave, you have to request it to or applying the leave to the relevant section. So that is called as a declaration. Prior information we are giving. So that is called as declaration. Before starting the program, what are the major variables, classes, objects we are using in the entire program, that should be defined first itself. So this defining is known as a declaration of class, objects or variables. The next one is the instantiation. Instantiation is a term, it is used to creating the new object in a class. So this is called as instantiation. That means we are creating the class. So first, before starting the program, we should be create the class. After creating the class, only we are going to create the object. So inside the class, that already existing class, after that we are going to, or we are trying to create new object. So this processing is known as a instantiation. Okay, so the next one is keyword new. So that we already explained, new is a keyword. It is provided by the system programming library. It is used to allocate the space for the inputted value in a dynamic memory. Dynamic memory means it's a system memory it is. Okay, so system memory is a common memory. So each and every data is having their own storage space will be there, that we have to define it. So while declaration time itself they have provided the memory. So that memory, after they providing the memory, that should be confirmed for the given variable. So that will be confirmed by the keyword is a new. So new is used to allocating, and we are providing the memory or allocating memory or allocating space for the data in a dynamic memory section. So that is called as a new. So this is the way we are going to create the object in a given class. So first we have to give the class name, object name equal to new keyword, then the class name. Example, fruit, apple equal to new fruits. So fruit is a class, apple is an object, new is a keyword. It is used to providing space for the fruit class. So this is the way we are going to create the object in a given class or existing class. Okay, so I hope you understood the same thing only. So many times we explain the same concept only again and again. That means the entire computer application what we already studied, the continuation only. Maybe it will be continue, or sometimes the same thing will be repeating. So all the lessons will be like that. Means it will be completely related. So one lesson or one topic if you miss means the next chapter we are unable to understand. That will definitely not possible because continuation only, or maybe it will be repeated. So that I don't think so it's difficult. So I hope you understood. Some more doubt will be there. You can contact me, and further queries you can drop through a WhatsApp group, or some options will be there. You can make use of it. So thank you. Have a great day.